Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to celebrate the greatest event in the history of the world. Wow. Let me say that again. We are about to celebrate the greatest event in the history of the world. Shavuos. When God gave the Torah to the Jewish people, our walking papers, our rules, our marching orders, how we're supposed to run our lives. How was this given? How was the law of God given to the Jewish people? Unlike any other religion, it makes an incredible claim. And the claim is, every single man, woman, and child, approximately 3 million people, stood at the foot of Mount Sinai and heard God speak. Please don't pay attention to the movies, the Charlton Heston version, where God speaks to Moses alone and gives him the 10 Commandments, and the Jewish people are down at the foot of the mountain. Nah, that's not what happened. Nice movie. Not what happened. Moses is at the foot of the mountain with everybody else. Yeah, he was in the front row, but he was there with everybody else. And every single Jewish man, woman, and child heard his voice. Heard God speak. Heard him give what had been translated, not properly translated, but translated as the 10 Commandments. Really the 10 statements. The 10 Commandments. Okay. Call it what you want. There really are 613 commandments. These 10 statements were given in front of the entire Jewish people. Now, it's interesting to note that no religion, not Christianity, not Islam, not Hinduism, not Buddhism, no religion makes a claim even similar to the Jewish people. Every other religion, a group of people felt that this is God. Or one person got a message from God. We're the only religion that makes a claim that everybody saw it. And no religion denies this claim. Every religion agrees that yes, the Jewish people, every single man, woman, and child was there at Sinai and heard God speak. Everyone got their marching orders the same time. The establishment of the Jewish people was done in front of everyone, so no one could say, I wasn't part of it. For a moment, let's say the critics are right. Let's say the agnostics and the atheists and all these people have a point. The Torah was written by a group of rabbis, and then they gave it to the Jewish people. My first question is, you really think you're going to get a group of rabbis to agree on writing on the whole Torah? You know the old saying, ask 2 Jews a question, you'll get 3 answers? You're not going to get a group of rabbis to agree on the Torah. But even, let's say they did. And then they come out, and here it gives it that first generation, here's the Torah. What do we do with it? Well, what is the greatest mitzvah in the Torah? Study. Learning Torah is equal to all 613 commandments for every Torah, every word of Torah you learn. It's our lifeblood. It's what makes us who we are. It's our personality. So they sit down and they study. And they get to the point that we're going to read about on Shavuos. That says they all stood at the foot of the mountain. They heard God speak. They trembled. They tried to run away. It was too overwhelming. a voice that could break cedar trees. There was thunder, there was lightning, there was fire. The mountain was shaking. So that first generation, let's say that didn't happen. There was a bunch of rabbis who wrote it down. Okay. Now you give them this Torah, they read it, and they read this story, and they go, I remember that happening. All the special effects, I don't think I'd ever forget that. That's incredible. The fire, the thunder, the lightning, the voice of God. How could I forget that? Well, maybe I didn't say it. Maybe it was my father. Dad? No. Nope. Granddad? Nope. Now, because you're telling me I heard this, which I didn't, now you're telling me that I have to keep some very difficult things and give that over to my children and can demand that they give it over to their children for generations. Generations. Matter of fact, it is approximately 3,335 years since the Torah was given. 3,335. And you're telling me that the Jewish people, many of us, keep the Torah to the best of our ability. The whole Torah to the best of our ability. Because a bunch of rabbis told our ancestors that they saw something that they didn't really see. And they passed it on and taught their children and grandchildren, but it didn't really happen. How's that possible? Not only that, who are you talking about? You're talking about the Jewish people. The same people that won't buy anything unless it's on sale. Not because we're cheap. I can't stand that slur. The anti-Semitic slur, Jews are cheap. We are the most charitable people in the world. There are projects and fundraising committees and people and people collecting for everything where I myself have collected for helping people get buried, collected for kosher shavers for people, make sure people didn't get cremated. I never missed the mark. I never say, oh, I couldn't put the money together, because there's always people who want to jump on in that mitzvah. So don't say the Jews are cheap. What we are is cynical. We don't take anything for granted. We are trained from the crib. It's in our DNA that we ask questions, and we keep asking and asking and asking until we get to the answer. That's what studying Torah is all about. That's what people do every single day. Keep asking questions until we get the answers. So you're going to say that this cynical people that do not take anything for granted, do not take anything at face value, always look for a sale, are going to take a Torah with 613, some of them very difficult mitzvos. You're not allowed to make money one day out of the week. If you're a farmer, you're not allowed to work your land 1 year out of every 7 in Israel. And you have to have absolute faith that God's going to take care of you. It's a lot to ask. The mitzvahs of the Torah actually cover every facet of our life. From the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep. And every day of our life, from the time that we're born and the time that we die, how we live that life. It's not just love your neighbor. No. It's everything. The Jewish people, when they got the Torah, they accepted to be servants, real servants of God. And this happened because they were told a story that didn't really happen. Sorry, it's not logical. That first generation, if it wasn't true, if they didn't hear God speak, if they didn't see the lightning and hear the thunder and see the fire burning on the mountain and feel the ground shake underneath them and the cedar trees being ripped apart because of the grandeur of God's voice, if they didn't see all that and they were told that they did, there wouldn't be people that observe the Torah today, and would never have been, because that first generation would have thrown it in the garbage. It's not real. So when we celebrate the giving of the Torah, we're celebrating the greatest event in world history. And yes, God revealed himself to every single man, woman, and child at the foot of Mount Sinai. Not only that, why else is it the greatest event in world history? Because it's not just ours anymore. The moral lessons, the civic duties, what's considered right and wrong in the world today, especially in this country, where do those ideas come from? Where do those ideals come from? Our Torah. Today they call it Judeo-Christian values. First word, Judeo. What does that mean, Jewish? Where did Jewish values come from? Torah. If you go into the library of the Supreme Court and you find laws about morality, what's the basis? Our Torah. If you go into the Library of Congress and you find books about ethics and morality, where does it come from? What are the sources? Our Torah. If the Jewish people never would have gotten the Torah, the world would be a much darker place today. And it all comes from this moment in history, the holiday of Shavuos. It's funny that it's a 2-day holiday, at least outside of Israel, and one of the days being celebrated on Shavuos, just the way the calendar worked out this year. In actuality, the day that the Torah was given, we're not 100% sure the day of the month. It's either the 6th or the 7th of the month of Sivan. But the day of the week, everybody knows what day of the week it was. It was Shabbos. And we're taught that if it wasn't for Shabbos, a day where God opened up the heavens and we saw into the heavens, we saw God and we heard his voice, that never would have been able to happen if it wasn't for Shabbos. So I wish you a very, very inspiring and uplifting Shavuos that should bring us all to a greater level of commitment of following God's law and learning God's law, and a very inspiring Shabbos that should bring us to a much more fulfilling Shavuos that we ever had before. Good Shabbos and good Yom Tov.